Fergie calls it the biggest Manchester derby of all. Gary Neville says it's possibly the biggest Premier League match in the history of the competition. So what's the key to it, do we think, Martin, that there's so much at stake? Fergie says that if City win, they'll win the title. How does City win? What's that?
I think the key to it is Roberto Mancini's attitude to it, because in other games, massive matches for Manchester City, against Tottenham 2 years ago, when basically it was winner takes all for the last Champions League place, and then a game of earlier this month away to Arsenal, which really was another win or bust game for City. And on both occasions there, you know, they've been quite cautious. They've been, you know, they haven't really gone for it. And I think tomorrow is all about whether City go out there with the knowledge that, right, we win this, we win the league. We have got to risk, you know, even if we get beat, even if that's, we have got to gamble in some way, because Manchester United won't gamble. I'm not about to say that Manchester United would, but they only need a draw. If the situations were reversed, Manchester United would gamble. That has always been their way. That has always been Ferguson's way. That if he needs to win a match, he is very brave about it. And I think that's what City have got to be.
Do you think Mancini will? Do you think he'll go for it?
That's interesting. One chance to make history, because there was an interview he gave in France Football last week in which he talked about, oh, we'll definitely win it next season. Which you look at and think, well, why not win it this season? So that's interesting. One chance to make history. If that is his mindset at the moment, and then they go for it, I think City will win. But they've got to be prepared to risk. At some stage, you've got to be prepared to risk if you're going to win a title. No one wins it cautious.
His team will be interesting. I mean, Tevez has come back, and the increase in their form since he returned has been significant. Yeah. Balotelli's back from suspension. Would you get Balotelli involved in this game or not?
Not at all, no. No, I mean, as soon as Tevez got off that plane, I felt he was going to be a big influence on this title race, particularly in concert with Aguero. You know, that's a really high-class front too, and that's why they brought him back, because they were struggling and they needed an extra man, and they brought back a world-class striker for nothing, City. So Tevez, for me, it's Tevez and Aguero every time. If you're talking about the front two, the main two strikers in that side, Balotelli is a liability anyway in a game like that. I wouldn't risk it. No,
with the pressure, and the build-up.
Not just his temperament, but you know, you're going to have to work in that game. You're really going to have to work to get anything out of it. And if Balotelli's looking at his feet and, you know, and sulking if things aren't going quite
holding
right.
up his shirt and everything.
And yet he was brilliant in the Old Trafford game.
Well, he was.
6-1. He was brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, he's capable of being brilliant, but you don't know, so why gamble?
And I think we've got to a point with him where you just cannot afford this game. You cannot afford for him to have one of those days where he's looking at his shoes and he gets sent off after 35 minutes.
Yeah. Do you think Mancini will go for it or not?
Well, I'm not sure. As Martin says, history says not, really. And so maybe he will have learnt from his past. I'm not sure. Look, I think City have got better players individually. United are a better team. And I think until City can leap that hurdle, they're not going to win it. I admire them immensely, the way they've come back at United when it looked like they'd blown it. I just think, I still stick to the thing that I think when they lost at Arsenal, that game that Martin mentioned, I think that was just too far. It's too far for them to get back. And I think a draw tomorrow night.
I mean, the difference between City at the moment than they produce at the Emirates is significant.
It is significant.
They're a different team. Who do you think deserves to win the title over the course of the season?
Whoever's top of the table at the end of it. I don't think, you know, I don't think City or United deserve it anymore. Whoever ends up on the most points. I think they've both got incredible things to recommend them this season. I think it's been a terrific season for Manchester football. I think City deserve a lot of credit for coming so close. You know, they're trying to break through this barrier of 44 years without a title. They're very, very close. But United, with a team that is probably not as good as some of their teams of the past, have, you know, Ferguson again has done an unbelievable job to get them this close. So I think they both teams deserve immense credit.
Yeah, I think I agree. Whoever's on top will deserve it. I think they'd both be very worthy Premier League winners. City played wonderful football for the first half of the season. They really brought the whole league to life. And United came back into it through, you know, knowledge and resilience and a lot of individual talent as well. So it's been a great contest, actually. And in a way, I think United will hope that Mancini stays in charge next season because, you know, if he does, there are more likely to be issues in the City dressing room with rifts and problems and egos getting out of control, you know, because if there's one... you know, if there's one failing, I think, on Mancini's side, it's perhaps the man management, you know, and United will want that to continue. If they bring in another manager next year, a Guardiola, say, that's going to up the ante again.
It's interesting, I think, that we've talked a lot about Tevez, and a lot of people have honed in on the sort of destructive effect that he's had. But I think, if anything, if you can point anything at why City haven't got over the line yet, it's maybe an overindulgence of Balotelli. I think Balotelli's been more of a problem. Martin said, yeah, he's a fantastic player.
Yeah,
he's capable of great things.
I mean, I don't disagree. I mean, that's the irony with Mancini is that, you know, as much as at key moments he's accused of conservatism, in terms of the players that he's bought, he's taken more chances than just about any manager that I can remember. He's assembled a squad of these huge egos and guys that are really, really difficult to control, like Balotelli, who can be a brilliant player. But I do agree with Ollie and Paul. At the moment, right at this very moment, you can't risk a guy that could get himself sent off 5 minutes before half-time, and now you're going to play Manchester United with 10 men needing to win the game.
It's curious that he, Mancini, I've got a lot of respect for him. I think he's done brilliantly at City, but it's curious that both with Tevez and Balotelli, he went back on his original position, which was that this guy is finished here, you know, particularly Tevez. I understand why he did it, but then he did it with Balotelli again. He said, right, that's it, I've had enough. And then a few days later he says, oh, he can still play for this club, he's still got a future, he's very talented, we all make mistakes. So he does seem to oscillate between these positions, and I wonder whether the other players hear that and say, well, actually, you know, he's not quite
I'm running out of time. Prediction tomorrow?
I think City will score first and United will equalise and it will keep going to the end of the season.
So it'll be a draw?
Yeah.
You're doing a draw, aren't you, as well?
1-1, yeah.
I don't think United will lose.
I was just about to say that. so in the end, folks, you've wasted an hour of your life, and we all concluded it's a draw.
OK. Don't forget, if you missed any of today's show, you can catch it again on the podcast. My thanks to Martin Samuel, Paul Hayward and Oliver Holt, and my special thanks to you for watching.